Under the CCP's rule, even Buddhist monks were taught to be loyal to Red Communism. There is no freedom of religion. The CCP confiscated satellite dish receivers to block any information from the outside. The people were forced to accept the CCP's brainwashing. At Siping, Jilin Province, an old woman collected corn in the floodwater. The CCP's propaganda of good harvests is debunked as a lie. The CCP's red flags were planted all over an empty building. This is the brainwashing to hijack the 1.4 billion Chinese people.
At a tourist site in Xi'an, some staff trampled on human rights and forced the disabled man to get out of his car and prove his disability. These two staff were not wearing any uniforms or badges and were only disciplined verbally after the fact by the manager. Those involved showed dissatisfaction with the little consequences to the staff's actions. Video shows Meng Wanzhou, Huawei's CFO and vice chairperson, praising the CCP on their national holiday on October 1st, wishing the motherland a prosperous future. In communist China, there is no protection of public safety or health. In this video, we see a woman expressing her anger at the government. She was jailed for 10 months after her daughter was handicapped due to a defective vaccine. The government never took responsibility and even blocked her from seeking medical treatment for her daughter. A common person fought back against CCP's traffic police, causing a conflict. In a confrontation between the people and the police, both sides are the CCP's victims. At 5 p.m. on October 3rd, the Nanjing Road in Shanghai was extremely crowded, and the people completely disregarded the threat of the pandemic. As the CCP promoted tourism on October 1st, the pandemic is something the people in China no longer remembers. To the CCP, its citizens are nothing but deplorable. This CCP official told up a crowd of petitioners and called them a disorderly mob. On October 2nd, Kim Jong-un sent a message of condolence to President Trump after learning of his contraction of the CCP-Virus. I learned with shock that you and your wife has tested positive for COVID-19. I offer my heartfelt condolences and wish a speedy recovery for yourself and your wife. You will beat this disease. Warmest greetings to you and your beloved wife. Shapwai's farmer, who touted voluminous fake advertisements with a magical cure to prevent and treat cataracts, has fallen from grace after being exposed as a complete scam. The platform and content business group of Tencent handed out 170 million yuan's worth of Huawei cell phones as a reward for its employees, who wasted no time reselling the phones on the second-hand online market. CCP fighter aircrafts were reported to have constantly harassed Taiwan and threatened its security. In an act of deterrence against the CCP, US naval aircrafts landed for the first time ever in Andaman Islands in the Indian Ocean. President Trump was hospitalized for treatment after contracting the CCP-Virus. On October 2nd, CCP naval ships appeared in Hualien Sea, only 30 nautical miles off the coast of Taiwan.
Ant Group. They expect to raise $30 billion soon, eclipsing the $25 billion raised by Jack Ma for Alibaba in 2014, and even beating the $29 billion that was captured by Saudi Aramco in January. Most investors see this as a simple financial transaction, and Wall Street seems eager to get in on the action. But there are multiple reasons to believe that it can get a lot more sinister. So just what is Ant Group? It used to be called Ant Financial Services, and it's partially owned subsidiary of Alibaba Group Holdings. Yes, the same Alibaba that took $25 billion from an American IPO just 6 years ago. And yes, the same Alibaba founded by Communist Party member Jack Ma. But what do they do? Ant Group provides financial technology products and services. It dominates the Chinese market for mobile payment services with its Alipay platform. Think of it as Apple Pay, PayPal, Samsung Pay, all rolled into one. And Ant Group does more financial transactions worldwide than both MasterCard and Visa combined. Nearly $18 trillion are moved annually through their platform. The Chinese communists will be thrilled. They hope to capture dominance in all global financial transactions. Remember, they said they were going to de-dollarize the world and de-Americanize the world? This is part of that. It's also part of unrestricted warfare. Just how comfortable are you that a self-admitted Chinese Communist Party member has a controlling interest in a company that has access to all of those financial transactions? Would you be willing to give them your money or access to your data? Unless something changes, you may not have a choice.
U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo will be coming to South Korea next week as planned, despite concerns he might call off or delay the trip because of President Trump's diagnosis. Pompeo, according to Reuters, confirmed on Friday that his series of visits to countries in Asia will go ahead. He's currently in Europe and is due to leave for Japan on Sunday. He'll then stop in Mongolia before coming to South Korea.
A memo late Friday from the White House physician Sean Conley said President Trump is doing very well and is being treated with remdesivir, an antiviral drug approved by the U.S. FDA for severe cases of COVID-19. The doctor said President Trump is resting comfortably after taking his first dose and is not in need of supplemental oxygen. His treatment also involves an experimental antibody cocktail for COVID-19 developed by Regeneron Pharmaceuticals. President Trump had been transferred to Walter Reed National Military Medical Center in Maryland several hours earlier. Soon after arriving, he tweeted a video message.
I think I'm doing very well, but we're going to make sure that things work out. The First Lady is doing very well. So thank you very much. I appreciate it.
The most recent study says people with the new strain had a higher load of the virus, meaning it may be more contagious, but I need to point this out, not more deadly. Joining us to discuss, the Chinese virologist and COVID-19 whistleblower who says she has proof that the China virus was manufactured in that lab in Wuhan, China. Dr. Li, so I was very suspicious about this early on. I took some heat for it. But why don't you lay out for me the case that you believe this was a manufactured virus in Wuhan, and more importantly, was it released on purpose or accidentally?
So first, this is a lab-made virus based on the nature strain of the Zhoushan bat coronavirus, which is discovered and owned by China military. And after the modification, the scientists use their techniques, which they are good at, and they used for years to play with the material, and finally generate this SARS-CoV-2 virus, which is lethal and high contagious to affect human. And also this virus like human very well. And also this is definitely come from the lab intentionally. I have intelligence evidence, and also as I have mentioned in other media, that only based on the scientific experience that I have been working in the P3 lab under WHO reference lab for years, I can tell you that there is no way for such dangerous virus come out by accident from P3, P3 plus, or P4 lab, because government is not stupid.
Ronna McDaniel contracting the CCP virus. Also, where are the markets right now? I think we're seeing some stability in the markets. We're seeing stability among our allies. We've got some breaking news later, Jack, I think, about America's military support in the South China Sea. So a lot of good things happening today. It's just another day in the office over at the White House. Mainstream media is in complete hysterical meltdown. This is how they have the problem with nobody in the Democratic Party wants to show up to vote. They all want to hide in their rabbit hutch, right? Because they've been traumatized by the mainstream media. Now, look, we've been covering the pandemic since mid-January, right? We refused to kind of drop the handle pandemic when people came to us in the spring. So I said, hey, I think this thing is kind of impervious to heat and humidity, and that's why we had the big bounce in the summer, because it is impervious to heat and humidity. This pandemic's not over, and it's not over by a long shot. And here's the reason. This came from the Chinese Communist Party. This came from a CCP lab, whether it's a bioweapon program or a gain-of-function experiment gone awry. This is China's problem. China has done this, and they've exacerbated it. And the Chinese media is mocking and ridiculing us right now. They're particularly after President Trump. So I hope folks in the White House understand that this is the CCP virus. Jack, you mentioned something in the break, the irony of contracting this on the 1st of October. What is that?
China National Day. So here we have the CCP virus that has been given to our president on their national day. There is some irony in that. But the even better irony is going to be when we watch Donald Trump power through this illness and we stick a thumb in their eye as a result.
I will definitely take care of myself, because if I don't, it would be being irresponsible to the whistleblower movement. However, brothers and sisters, I cannot allow the CCP virus to confine me to my home. That's impossible. It won't affect my takedown of the CCP at all. It will only make me work harder towards that end. God bless President Trump and his wife. And God bless everyone in the world. Do not get the CCP virus. Those who did get it, I hope they will make it through. I believe in that hydroxychloroquine azithromycin will save President Trump and his wife. Then they will, with resolve and determination, take down the CCP. I also believe that he will stand with the new federal state of China. Do you believe that, my friends? The shock to the world today is heaven giving mankind a final chance to choose between the CCP and the NFSC. There's no third alternative. Have you thought about this? Is there a third alternative? Not even President Trump has one. For him, it's also either join the side of NFSC and take down the CCP or go with the CCP. It's simple as that. For mankind, the choice is the same. Just now, one person at the video conference with me said that his family is currently facing its greatest choice, which is either stand with the NFSC or follow the CCP to the end, because he has too much vested interest in China. And I said, that is a choice for you to make. That was just before President Trump being tested positive. Take a look at all this. Brothers and sisters, do you know what is the Pandora's box now? This is merely the beginning. May everyone in the world be safe and be able to avoid the CCP's war of Pandora.
India passes grand milestone of 100,000 COVID-19 deaths. In a tweet after being hospitalized, Trump said he thought he was doing well. Trump's doctor says Trump is being treated with remdesivir and is resting comfortably. Trump's campaign manager tests positive. Johnson & Johnson completes $6.5 billion takeover momentum. Airbnb blocking some rentals over Halloween to halt parties. House passes $2.2 trillion Democratic coronavirus stimulus bill. U.S. unemployment rate slips to 7.9% in the last jobs report before election.